Kia ora. Hello again and welcome to the RebeccaAnneKnits YouTube channel. I'm Bex and I'm a knitter from the Hutt Valley in Wellington, New Zealand, and this is my little corner of the internet where I love to talk about all the things that I've been knitting on and the things that I'm planning to knit on and things that I finished and things I'm crocheting, throw a little bit of spinning in there sometimes. So yeah, welcome. Please grab a drink and join me to chat about what I have been up to. Haven't got a huge amount of content today, but I really wanted to come on and make a video because it is officially the 1st of September, which means that the Kiwi Makealong that was running from June till August has officially finished. And so I wanted to have a little chat, show you the prize that I am offering for anyone who finished a project during the Cal, and just have a little chat about what I have been working on. So let's start with the make-along stuff so we can get that out of the way. So for most of you will know the Kiwi Make-along was something I was involved in. A whole pile of New Zealand podcasters banded together with Merino of Strawberry Patches, and we have been running a make-along throughout the months of June, July and August, so the New Zealand winter. And it was basically knit something in a New Zealand produced yarn or New Zealand hand-dyed yarn, or use a pattern that was produced by a Kiwi or based in New Zealand knitwear designer. And so throughout the last 3 months, we've all been knitting away on different things, and there's a whole pile of amazing prizes up for grabs. So if you have posted your finished object, it needed to be a finished object and it needed to be a new cast on for the Cal. If you've posted that in the Ravelry group or with the hashtag on Instagram, you could be in to win one of the prizes. I'm not going to go through all of them, but Marina from Strawberry Patches is going to be drawing the prizes. I think she's going to hopefully do that today, so hopefully that will be posted soon. But I'd just like to share with you the prize that I have put together. So if you win the prize that I've put together, you will win this beautiful cake of 100% New Zealand merino yarn, which is hand-dyed by Dreamfire Yarns. I'll take it out of this pouch. It came this way, already caked up, which is really nice. This is the Clayton Merino fingering. It's 400 meters to 100 grams, hand wash, and absolutely beautiful colors there. And it's going to come in this wee little yarn pod pouch, which I knit and sort of designed. I have a little pattern for this written up on my Ravelry page for these. I've called it yarn pods, and it's basically just a little mesh knit bag that you can pop your yarn cakes in so that they don't disintegrate on you, fall apart as you're knitting from them if you're doing a center pull. And it's big enough that you can either just have it open at the top, or it's got a little cord here that you can cinch it around the cake if that's more helpful, or if you want to keep multiple things in there. I love using these, and so I thought I would make one. This is 2 yarns held together, some a mama wooling, and also it's her single ply merino silk. There was some leftovers from a project of mine, and then there's also some yarn therapy single ply merino and linen blend that's left over from my mystery gnome. So that is part of the prize. That's the first part of the prize. So there's that, and then I have been working away throughout the Cal knitting essentially sock tubes, and these will be a pair of hand knit by me, so not perfect but strive to be great socks for whoever is the winner. And I have used, excuse the label looking very tired because this is a discontinued yarn now, but this is a beautiful New Zealand sock yarn called Kiwi. It's my absolute favourite sock yarn, but you cannot buy it anymore. So whenever I find it on a D-stash, I snap it up. But this is a beautiful, bright, glorious blue, and this blend is 55% New Zealand merino, 20% nylon, 15% alpaca, and 10% possum. So I have knit this much of a sock, obviously with no heel and no toe, And whoever is the winner, I would love you to get in contact with me via my email address, which is listed below, but just the same as the podcast and the Ravelry and the Instagram, RebeccaAnneKnits@gmail.com, and let me know your shoe size and also what colour you would like for your toe and heel. So there you go, this glorious like sapphire blue. So I'll pop a little picture in the side here of some mini skeins that I have in stash, so you can choose from those colorways what you would like your toe and heel to be if you happen to be the winner. So that's kind of exciting. They will be kind of shorty socks. I expect you'll have about this much leg depending on your shoe size. I've done a 64 stitch tube. I just had the one ball left of this beautiful color in this ball, so they are not long socks. They will be shorty socks, but if you know me, you know that's my go-to. So they will be lovely. I hope that you will enjoy those and this beautiful skein and yarn cake holder. So those will be coming your way if you happen to win the prize that I put forward. So keep a lookout for the update from Marina from Strawberry Patches for that. And then get in touch with me to let me know your colour preference and your shoe size if you happen to be the winner. So that's really all there is to say about the Cal. I have thoroughly enjoyed being involved with that. Kind of wish I was in the running for some of the prizes because there's some very generous gifts on offer. So fingers crossed for you all that you win something amazing. My main project that I did, if you remember back a few episodes, was the Calypso sweater, which was both New Zealand yarn and by a New Zealand designer. But I've also knit away on many other things. Majority of my projects over the last 3 months have been in New Zealand yarn, so that's been really cool. I didn't finish my other main project, which was my pressed flowers cardigan. It's been sad and neglected, but I will update you on that when we get to WIPs. Excuse for how scruffy I am looking today. I'm not long back from the gym and I'm just mooching around home on my day off today. So I literally just have my gym clothes on with my stick season cardigan over the top. This is a test knit I did for the Crayobear last year. It's made in Kelly & Co, which is an Irish dongle tweed produced yarn using New Zealand and Australian merino. That was a collaboration with Skeins, and I absolutely love it. It's long past my bum. It's like my house coat / dressing gown / I wear it over everything all the time. Absolutely adore it. So it's kind of like my go-to thing to wear. So that's what I'm wearing. What else am I going to share with you today? Finished objects, I guess. Just one really to show you. Obviously I've semi-finished those sock tubes as much as I can, but my July socks are finished, and I can't remember where I was up to on these last time I recorded, but these are the Sunday slouch socks, which are a brand new pattern that I test knit for RebeccaAnneKnits, who's a New Zealand designer, and it is these beautiful, it's a toe-up sock, which is not my normal, but I did actually really enjoy it. So you start cast on for the toe. I don't know what this heel construction is called, but it was very cool. You kind of increased out and then decreased in to make this heel shape, which I really like. It fits really beautifully. And then it has this kind of, it's going to be, the light's a bit weird today, sorry, it's a bit hard to show. Can you see that there? It's kind of like a mock cable with some yarn overs, absolutely beautiful texture all up the leg. And you can kind of see that the leg flares a bit. You do 6 repeats of the pattern, and then you change from a 2.25 needle to a 2.5 and do the same again, but on a slightly bigger gauge so that you get a bit more slouch and room in the leg for your upper calf. Now here's a funny story. I accidentally put one of these in the washing machine with my washing today and it's perfectly fine because this is Mama Willing's sock club for August. Must be August. Did I say July before? I'm really like out of tune. It's the 1st of September today, so these must be my August socks. I can't remember what I said, sorry. But anyway, this is Mama Wooling's August colorway. And look at this. So this is the one, this has just been lying flat to dry since I realized it had been put through the wash. And this is the one that hasn't been washed. Look at the stretch. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They were already a tiny bit on the big side of the foot for me because you kind of have to guesstimate, measure a little bit. I know I need 60 rows for the foot when I'm knitting cuff down socks. So I do my heel and then I do 60 rows and then I do the toe. It was a little bit harder to judge with these because they were toe up and I don't normally do toe up. Oh good. It looks like the foot hasn't actually stretched particularly much, but look how much the leg has grown. I guess I will be blocking the other one so that they match. It's so funny. Okay. Anyway, these are the tallest socks I have ever knit, and I'm actually so in love with them. Which is kind of annoying because I love being a shorty sock knitter because they're so much faster. But I might now every so often make a pair with a super long ribbed leg because these are just absolutely lovely. I've took some photos, not really any great ones, but I'll put the one in that I have so you can see them on a foot / leg. Absolutely love these. This colorway from Mama Wooling has got to be my favorite one of the whole year. It's just so beautiful. Berry tones. Love, 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 love. Can't wait to see what she sends me for September. Hopefully I will get that by the end of the week or maybe the beginning of next week so I can start my September socks. So that's my main finished object. I'm going to call it a half finished object because I feel like this is quite the achievement. Kind of moving on to WIPs now. Is my Battenberg blanket, which you will remember if you've been watching. I've been working away on my hedgehog fibres advent and making my Battenberg blanket with it. And I've completed the first half. That is 96 crocheted granny squares already completed. And 96, well 94 to go because I've got done the first two. So there's 12 different colours in here. I'll show you just a few. So I'm doing just a 3-round solid granny square with these beautiful hedgehog fibres mini skeins, 20 grams. I'm holding it double and I'm getting 4 mini skeins, 4 granny squares out of each mini skein. And I mean, look at these. So stunning. None of the ends are woven in. And then I'm doing 4 accompanying just plain cream undyed merino granny squares to go alongside that. Now the merino, the white merino is a bit denser than definitely denser. These are more drapey, the superwash merino, whereas this is a hand wash merino. And I also had to modify slightly because if I did it single, held the merino single, the cream, it was a bit too floppy and fine. But holding it double, they're a lot denser. And I'm okay with that because it's a blanket and I think it will, once these are blocked, they will relax a little bit. But I did have to modify, and instead of doing 3 rounds of double crochet, the last round on the white ones is half double crochet, just to get it to be a more similar dimension to the colourful ones, so they match up pretty good with that modification. Yeah, so I have finished the first half, which is very exciting, and I am going to endeavour to finish the second half in the month of September. So ideally, well, there's 24 colours obviously to go, plus 24, accompanying sets of cream. So that's, well, sorry, there's 12 colours. Did I say 24? There's 12 colours because I've done 12. There's 12 more. So there's 24 sets of 4 to do. So what I'm going to try and do is 4 squares a day. 4 of these a day. I should be able to do that within an hour. They take me about 10 minutes each. When I'm on a roll, they go faster. I can do them in the spa pool. I can do them at work on my break. I can shove one of these tiny little mini skeins and my crochet hook in my pocket. Today I did this one while I was waiting for my car to get its warrant of fitness. So you can kind of, isn't this one pretty? You can kind of do, they're really mobile. They can go with you anywhere. I just make the cream up into cakes so that I've got this on a cone, so that I can hold 2 strands and still quite portable. I do a bigger cake than 20 grams, but yeah. So just working away really at all of these. So that's kind of a half finished project, but not really because half isn't sewn together. I kind of want to, there's quite a mixture here of like dark, solid, saturated colors and then like soft pastels. And so I kind of want to group them. It's a bit hard to see with all of the white ones stuffed in there. But yeah, I kind of want to be able to group them and make a cohesive kind of blanket. Not where, yeah, so that they're kind of evenly dispersed between the like saturateds and the pastels rather than having like heaps of saturateds and heaps of pastels and clumps. So hence I haven't started sewing it together at all yet. But that's okay. I don't actually mind sewing things together, so I don't think I will hate it too much. It'll just be a big process, and we will get to that when the crocheting is done. So that's a goal for September. Hold me accountable, guys. 4 squares a day, 1 mini skein a day. That's just essentially advent knitting. Totally doable. And the crocheting is way faster. It's way faster to crochet 20 grams than it is to knit 20 grams. So it's got to be doable. And that's only 24 days. So if I do get behind, I've got 30 days in September, so I've got an extra 6 days to catch up. Or if I stay on point, then I've got 6 days to sew it all together. So that's my goal. What else have I been working on? I'll show you the pressed flowers. This has not had a lot of love, I'm afraid. I was working on it really solidly, and then I wanted to get the sock test knit finished because that was due before I went away. I've spent the last week on holiday with my family in Fiji, and I didn't want to take the socks with me. I wanted them done before I went, so I was working on those quite diligently. And I knew that a merino and mohair mosaic colourwork cardigan was not the right project to take away on my trip. So it got a bit neglected and it didn't really get worked on very much, but this is what I can show you. I have split for the front and the back just by half of motif. So you'll see this is the back. Let's go to the front. This, for anyone who's new, is the Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christophers of Savoury Knitting. I am knitting this in a fade set by Marmalade Yarn Co., who is a New Zealand designer, and this is the first ever set of hand-dyed yarns I ever brought for myself, and I'm finally using them. I've had them put aside for this project for quite a while, but I haven't actually actioned working on it. So this is the fade. So I'm on the middle colour now, and I'm using that for my, obviously for my flowers, and then my background colour is a dip dyed skein from Skeins, held with a Skeins mohair. So this one is called Smoke, and I think this one was Quartz or something like that. But they're being held together for the main colour. It's a sport weight pattern, but I'm kind of using a light fingering with the mohair for one, and a heavier, like 4-ply fingering weight for the background colour. So I have done half a motif of the front panel. There is some decreases going to happen here. It's a V-neck cardigan. And yeah, just got to work away at this. I'm going to show you next a project that I did take to Fiji that is very nearly finished, and that was a languishing WIP. So when that is finished, this is going to become my priority again. But you can see how I have 4 flowers in that darkest shade, and then 2 in the next shade, and then it will fade lighter again. I feel like the rest of the body will come together quite quickly now that I'm doing the shorter rows of the front, the 2 fronts and the back. And I kind of have the motif quite well memorized now, so I don't need the chart as much to keep track of where I'm up to. Oh, just found a mistake there. I have to work on that. Okay. Look, I have 2 stitches where I've held the yarns carried in front instead of behind. I have to work on a way to fix that. Anywho, that will be my priority once I've finished my other WIP, which is almost finished, which is my city dress by Tori Yu. Now, this has been a languishing WIP since last summer. I started this at the end of summer and got sort of like partway, kind of to nipple line, like partway through the bodice, and wanted to go back to woolly knitting because the summer was over. And so it got put aside intentionally to bring back out when the weather was warm again, because this is a sheepy's wool that I brought from Goodwool Hunting, and it is 70% cotton and 30% wool. This is the City Top / Dress by Tori Yu. It's a top pattern, but it's also got instructions on making it into a dress. I have a lot of ends from the messy way that you start with the straps and the double knitting and all the things. But I took this to Fiji because I knew that it was going to be hot and humid, and I wanted something that was, I thought, a project that was mostly stockinette in the round because all the hard part was done, and that was mostly cotton, was going to be perfect. And then I could get a languishing WIP done. So you can see where I picked it up is where that white heart marker is. Okay, so that's where it was at when I picked it up, which you can see it was a little way actually past the armhole. There's the sleeve separation there. So I was here, and this is a gradient cake of yarn. So you can see the blue started dark and it fades all the way out. And so you can see how much I achieved while I was away. It's going to be really hard to show you because I'm kind of too zoomed in. You can almost get the whole thing in the camera there. There we go. I've taken a couple of progress photos, so I've made like double the length progress while I was away. It was fading really beautifully, except for that one transition that looks quite harsh, which is a bit dumb. But you can see the transitions quite well through the colours on camera here. Okay, this is killing me. Let's put it down. I look ridiculous. Yeah, see this little bit here? It changed weirdly there. Anyway, so I'm knitting all the way down. It's basically stockinette in the round, except for that it has these ribbed panels down the underside, which you increase out so that you have an increase in diameter around your hips and bum. And then I've actually probably increased a little bit too much when I tried it on last time. It's probably had more positive ease rather than neutral. So I've actually decreased down a couple of times again, but you just have this rib panel on the sides, which keeps it really interesting knitting it actually. And it also gives you that flexibility of modifying it more to your body shape. So last time I tried it on was at this pin. I've done 10 rows since that pin, and I needed 10 centimeters post that pin and then some rib. It will be quite a narrow rib, just like here at the top. So it's nearly done. We actually had really long delays on the way home. Our flight home from Fiji was delayed an hour, and then our flight from Auckland back to Wellington was delayed 2.5 hours, and it was so painful. And it was like we got back into Auckland at like 8 p.m. We didn't get home to our house until 1 a.m. And I'd been knitting on that project almost non-stop for the last week, and I just had enough. I just couldn't even face it anymore. And so I had all these hours at the airport that I could have been working on it, and it could have been done by now, but I just didn't have it in me to work on it anymore. So it's nearly there. I'm hoping I might be able to even finish it today. It just needs like, I don't know, 10, 15 more rows, and then some rib, and then bind it off and sew on all those ends. I'm expecting it to grow a bit because it is mostly cotton, but I'm also hoping that it has enough memory from having that wool in there as well. So the top fits really great. I'm a little worried that the body, like I said, have increased a wee bit too much, but we'll see once it's all done and washed and blocked. Because it's majority cotton, I feel like I could actually throw it in the tumble dryer and just like get it to shrink up a little bit too, if it feels like it's grown a bit too much. Yeah, so I'm really loving this, and I'm really stoked to have a languishing like hibernation WIP nearly finished, and then I'll be able to wear it for the whole summer because, you know, it's first day of spring today, so it'd be great to have this more summery knit garment available for wearing in the springtime. I'm aiming for just above the knee length. I have how much? I could go longer. I've still got a decent amount of these cakes left. There's still quite a bit there. I'm holding it double, by the way, because it's a fingering weight. But I will probably, I'd really like to make it through to that tealy colour that's in the centre, but I'm not sure if I have enough, if I will go that long or not. I think it might end up an awkward length if I do that. I'm kind of aiming to stop, you'll see in the photo, but kind of like where my shorts end, like kind of mid-thigh, and then expecting that with blocking it will grow a bit in length, so it will end up around just above the knee length. The dress pattern, you know, says to do more like midi length, like mid-calf. So if it was longer, that would be fine. I just kind of want it done now, and I would be happy with it above the knee length. So yeah, I'll see where I'm at, and I'll see how much it grows. What I might do is try and get that 10 centimeters or so, like get it to that mid-thigh length today, because it just needs about that much more, like maybe 1 or 2 hours of work on it and it will be done. Maybe even an hour would be enough to get that much done, and then block it and see what length it turns out before I put the rib on. I think that's probably what I'll do, and then I can decide if I want it to actually end up go to midi length and be kind of like mid-calf, and like finish the cakes, or whether I want to stop it there and have it above the knee. I just need a drink of tea. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. It will be great to have that done and off the needles, and then I can get back to my cardigan. But I kind of just want to focus in and get that done because it's so close. If I keep it to the length that I'm expecting to, and then I can, yeah, focus back in on the cardigan. I'm obviously going to have another pair of socks for September once my Mama Wooling Sock Club yarn arrives. In the meantime, I have cast on just like a sock tube. I've been finding this really good, just to have something in the handbag all the time. I mean, the crochet is really portable, but I love to have just some stockinette in the round. So I started this the other day because I needed some stockinette in the round. And this is the new thing I'm trying, is I've done like a little picot here. So instead of doing rib at the top of the sock, because I find rib harder to do without looking, whereas I can do stockinette in the round completely without looking. Instead of starting with a rib for the cuff, I've actually just done a little picot. So I'm going to fold that over and have this little picot, and then I'm just going to knit this ball all the way down and put a picot at the other end, and then split it like a sock tube. And yeah, and just have a little picot cuff instead of having a ribbed cuff. And that way I get more length out of my single ball, and I can just get into the stockinette in the round way more quickly. So yeah, I'm giving that a go. hopefully that will turn out good, because I'm going to be doing like ankle / shorty type socks, especially with only a single ball, and then I'll use a contrast for the toe and the heel. I think that will be really cool. This is a new acquisition, actually, this yarn. This is Skeins is having a big sale at the moment. It was there, I think today is the last day of the sale, or maybe tomorrow is. And it's their can sale. What do they call it? Stash something sale. Skeins, I don't know if they're going to continue in the same way they have been, because they've sold their mill. And also, I did buy some things, which I'll show you, because I guess I'm up to acquisitions, aren't I? Anyway, this is one of the things that I brought. It's called Lush Green, and it's a sock yarn that's 50% merino, 25% alpaca, and 25% acrylic. Machine washable, 227 meters. So that's quite a generous meterage for a single 50-gram ball. And so I am, starting with socks, and I think I'm going to do some kind of soft pink for the heel and toe to go with this. So that's just kind of my handbag knitting, something I always have when I potentially might have to wait. So that's kind of a WIP, but they're not a priority. Like, once my mum or willing yarn arrives, I will be making whichever socks I choose to make this month with that in priority to this. So acquisitions wise, I haven't really worked on my huli blanket. If you've watched previous episodes, I'm doing a test knit for the Crayabaya, which is another blanket, and it's a like zigzaggy chevron-y type situation that I'm doing with mini skeins held with a brushed merino that I haven't really worked on because I did not take it to Fiji, and been working on my dress, my cardigan, and my socks, and my Battenberg. So I'm going to try and finish the Battenberg this month, and then focus on the huli in October. That's my plan. So the due date for the huli blanket is Christmas Day, and so I've got plenty of time left, and it's a mini skein situation as well. So again, I have 24 mini skeins. So once I finish the Battenberg, I'm going to try and do a mini skein a day with my huli blanket, and see if I can get through, prioritize that. Hopefully, if I can finish the Battenberg and the Pressed Flowers cardigan in September, then I can dedicate my October knitting to Socktober, socks and the huli blanket. That's my plan, but we'll see how that goes. I know the West Knits shawl make-along is always in October, and it's a no for me this year. I've got too many other things on my needles that I want to get finished. And yeah, they always turn out amazing. I've got my shawlography back here, and I've got the one I made last year. What was that one called? Whatever it was called, I don't remember. But I've got that one which I made as well, which I absolutely love. It turned out beautiful, but they're just so much work. And I've just got too many other things on the needles. I'll just feel stressed out if I try that. So we're not going to go there this year. So I'm kind of making a little bit of a plan for the next couple months. So from Skeins, with that sale, I did actually buy 2 balls of each of the colours that they did with that particular sock yarn. They had a grey as well, but the grey was very uninspiring, so I didn't get that. I've got the deep crimson and the lavish blue and the lush green, they were called. So that's really beautiful, and it's fun to work with a different sock yarn blend, because I've been obviously working with possum, alpaca, merino, and just merino nylon, and so it's nice to do something with a bit of alpaca in there. It'll be really interesting to see how they wear, and so far the knitting experience is lovely. So I brought that, and then I also have one other acquisition from the Skein sale, which for the longest time, ever since it came out, I've been eyeing up this particular cardigan by Expression Fibre Arts. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I'll put the photo in so you can see what it's like. It's a crochet cardigan, and it's like a blackened rainbow, almost like a deep, moody rainbow kind of vibes in this crochet. Usually I don't like the look of crochet garments, but this particular cardigan I was really taken by. And I didn't have anything in my stash that would really work. It's written for a sport weight gauge with a yak blend yarn, so I knew I needed something drapey and ideally sport weight. So I was waiting to see when Skeins next had a sale. If anything came on sale, that would be appropriate. They do have this yarn called Eros, which would have been perfect. It's a sport weight with possum in it. It would have been really wonderful. It did go on sale, but a lot of the colours are sold out. And I just couldn't make the palette complete enough for what I wanted, how I wanted the cardigan to turn out. So in this current sale, they had a yarn called Black Pearl on sale. Now I've used this base before. It's kind of a limited edition that they bring out periodically. They don't always have it. But I purchased, the cardigan has 8 different colours, 7 different colours, and so I purchased 2 of everything that was in the range, basically, and extra pink because you need extra of one colour. And so I almost have this like moody rainbow. There's like a teal, an emerald green, a purple, a blue, the pink magenta one, this like ochre yellow, and this kind of like it's called Aruba. It's kind of a red, it's kind of an orange, kind of rusty kind of colour. They're blowing out a little bit there because, sorry, I didn't do a very good job of positioning myself for light today. But yeah, so this will be that cardigan eventually. Now this is actually a DK weight, and but it's 113 meters per ball, so it's a slightly lighter DK weight, and the 50 gram balls. And the blend, it's a recycled blend actually of merino and alpaca this time. So sometimes these have silk in them, sometimes it's just kind of they put in what they have, because it's a recycled blend. And these are on sale for $5 a ball, so I decided that was quite acceptable. Yeah, so I am going to crochet with this, and because it's got the alpaca in there, I should have a good enough drape to work in a crochet garment. And I think what I'll do is I'll have to do some swatching most likely to because I may go up a hook size and then down a garment size, just so that it stays a bit drapey and not too stiff, because that's the thing with crochet garments, is that the fabric can be really thick, and so just depending on what type of fibre you're working with, and I'm seeing that with my Battenberg as well. My hedgehog fibres, granny squares, are quite different in density and texture than my non-superwash, my hand wash merino ones. And so one has drape and one really doesn't. And so I'll be trying to work a way that I can do, still get a nice drapey fabric, not too dense, but with using the DK. So I'm really excited about that project. I have no idea when I will cast that on. Maybe when I've finished the Battenberg blanket, because I am enjoying having something crochet on my needle, on my hook, I guess you'd say. Yeah, so we'll see when that comes along, but I'm committed to not casting anything else new on until I have made some progress on some of these WIPs, because I still have a couple other languishing WIPs as well. I have a sleeve that needs finishing on my Kip sweater, which was a test knit for the Crowbay that I didn't meet the deadline on. And so it still has a sleeve that needs knit. That's been sitting there for probably over a year now. I have my Night Shift shawl by Andrea Mallory that I'm knitting in Skeins Pulse, which I love. It's so fun and cool and enjoyable to knit on, but that's kind of been on the back burner because of the Kiwi MAL. I kind of put that aside, and that needs finishing. So maybe October I can work on that shawl. Got to finish the dress, got to finish the cardigan. Got to finish the Battenberg, got to finish the Huli blanket. So there's lots of stuff, kind of big projects on the go. So as much as I am feeling the cast on itch, I'm going to try really, really hard just to cast on socks and nothing else, and finish some of these projects and clear my needles a bit so then I can have freedom to knit whatever I want over the summer and the springtime. I did take a couple of new project cast on to Fiji and didn't touch them at all. And I note the Hohi Locatelli knit along is also starting today, 1st of September. I think that goes through till November with a knit along with her. And I do have a couple of Hohi patterns that I'm very keen to make. So maybe we'll talk about that next episode if I get something finished and I actually feel like I have capacity to cast something new on. Maybe it will be a Hohi pattern. We'll see. Or maybe it will be a Crayabaya pattern. I still really want to knit the Staffin in the Wild Earth yarn sage colourway. And just not enough time in my life to knit them anymore. It's been a real struggle, actually, not having anywhere near as much knit time this year now that I'm actually in paid employment. So yeah, I just can't achieve what I used to, and it's a bit of a bummer, but oh well. I'm still achieving plenty and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm not pressuring myself to have to churn out a certain amount. I'm just going to do what I enjoy. Yeah. So thank you for joining me today. I think that's all that I really had to talk about. Congratulations if you're one of the Kiwi Make Along winners. I really hope you've enjoyed being part of that Make Along. It's so nice to get to showcase New Zealand yarns and New Zealand designers. I will be tootling away at finishing off my projects and knitting away always in the background. I have been spinning as well. I think I told you last episode that I got a new spinning wheel. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing. I haven't done a lot of spinning because of course I've been away. But yeah, absolutely loving my new spinning wheel. So we'll be doing a bit more of that. And yeah, just all the nitty crafty things along with work and family life and all of that. Nothing else exciting to say. We had a fabulous time in Fiji. I obviously got a decent amount of knitting time still because you can see that I did quite a lot on the dress. My kids added up that they spent over the 6 days that we were there, only 4 of those days did they swim because the 2 were travel days and there wasn't time. And oh no, maybe they did swim the first day. 5 days out of 6 they swam, and over those 5 days they spent 17 hours in the swimming pool. Plus we spent time on the beach and doing other activities and at all you can eat buffets. It was amazing. I also need to prioritise getting back to the gym now and drinking more water and eating some more nourishing food because I definitely had a great time eating and drinking and spending time in the sun and relaxing, and it was absolutely amazing. It was a trip that had been a long time coming. We booked it back in January as like a graduation celebration for the whole family for making it through myself studying for 4 years, and yeah, it was just absolutely lovely to get to actually experience it. There was no disappointments other than delays on the way home, which were annoying. It exceeded all our expectations, so it was great. Nothing else exciting on the horizon really, other than work, family life, and hopefully lots more knitting and spinning. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've come along and listened to me ramble about all my knitty projects, feel free to comment below if you'd like to ask any questions about anything. All my projects are up on my Ravelry page, RebeccaAnneKnits. If you want any further details or to look at any of the modifications I make or the yarns I use, I try to keep them up to date. You can find me on Instagram as well as RebeccaAnneKnits. I post bits and pieces on my stories there more frequently. And yeah, if you've enjoyed listening to me ramble, feel free to like this video or subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel get out there and to be seen by more knitters. So feel free to do that if you would like, and you'll also get notified when I make a new video if you do that. So thank you again for joining me, and I hope that you enjoy your knitting and crafting over the next few weeks, and I will hopefully join you again soon. Bye for now.